full speed, but the markets are faster. Quasar Markets Live brings the world's top financial minds to you. Everything you need to know in one place. Learn from elite educators and gain a competitive edge, leveling the playing field for you. Join the conversation. Quasar Markets Live.
Good morning, everybody. Quasar Markets Live, July the 14th. Look, if you're not happy about Bitcoin now, you're on the wrong side of that trade, because we have been talking about that for over 3 months now, of how there was going to be a short squeeze in there. The markets were definitely priming for this, and well, here we are. So look at this, back to 122 already, 120.21.9 now. We are pushing higher, right? That's all I had to say about this, is that if you were not around us when we talked about crypto, and Howard talked about it too as well, that here we are. And when you're looking at the alternative to investing, we've been saying quite a bit that this market, whether it's the Qs or the SPY, the Dow, or whatever, in the stock market side, including the Russell, is a little overcooked, a little overvalued. So where do you go to find alpha? And what we talked about, we're at silver is at a 14-year high right now. Silver sitting at almost was a little over $39 an ounce. I still think we're going to 43. I've called that since $19. If you listen to me and you stay with me the whole way, you're pretty happy. I mean, you can't be one of those people that just said, "Hey, I didn't know," unless you were here. We heard a few minutes ago here that the Grayscale has confidentially filed for a U.S. IPO with the SEC. I'll put this up here. There you go. In the banners, and put in the banner for you as well, so you can see that. Yep. There you go. And looks like the news is pretty much light this morning. Over the weekend, obviously, Trump talking about tariffs. He's not playing around this time. There's no taco trade going on, and I just don't think it's going to happen this time. I think he is upset about things just not getting done. Understandable. He's the president. That's what he wants. Okay, well, then this is what he got to do. So he's saying it privately to his own people, "Hey, Navarro, get it done." He's also saying it publicly. He's been questioned about it. It's 30% on this, 30% on that. So I don't think he's going to back down this time. I think he's going to stick with it. They got 2 weeks. August 1st is what he said was the deadline. So I think that's what he is going to stick to this time. Now we know that there's been this taco trade going out, that Trump always chickens out. Yeah, okay. I don't think he's chickening out. I think he's telling you what he wants to do. And I think he's being advised, and I think he's taking some good advice and pulling back a bit. But as he's making these decisions, right, that he's coming back and saying, okay, well, you know what, maybe it's been a little tough. All right, well, this is how the markets are reacting now. I'm seeing a little bit of a push to the upside, but not enough yet. Not quite to the level that I think we need to see. I think one of the things that I need to see coming up here now is going to be earnings. We should see earnings soon, and that's one of the biggest pieces right now of the puzzle that I've got to see in the next level of this. So until I see those earnings, I'm not going to be able to say yes or no what we're looking at, quite frankly. Right now, NASDAQ is down. Implied open in the NASDAQ now down 57 points. So not a heavy day. We've also got members of Congress playing around up there, so we'll see how Washington reacts today also. Well, but EU and Mexico tariffs, we're seeing now again on CNBC. We're talking about with Kramer that this is a pretty big deal. 30% is kind of high. Now, what's interesting is while the inflation will not go down, so don't expect the Fed to cut rates, but expect Trump to release Powell as Fed chair. They're going to take that all the way through it. And over the weekend, I was reading about where Powell's actually thinking about actually resigning. So you don't think about it unless you're actually going to do it. So it's a rarity. You just stay steadfast to, I'm not resigning until they kick me out of here. I'm gonna take my ball and stick with it. But I don't think that's the case here. I think he probably will resign with the pressure coming down the pipe, mainly because Trump wants to lower rates. Yet probably need to. If you're going to keep these tariffs and that's going to raise inflation, then you need to lower rates, and that'll give some of these homeowners. I was looking today and I saw a couple of newsworthy posts for me that I kind of looked at in depth, and that was the amount of homes in Las Vegas. Highest number in history that people are just leaving their homes. They're trying to sell them out and they can't do it. Investors are pulling out. No builds going on in Las Vegas. So if you like Las Vegas, it's a good time to buy. It's a good time for buyers. Florida is starting to become that same way, right? As people are moving back, and you had to go back to work and all of that. And I don't always agree with that sometimes, but that's what the game plan is here. So right now, that's what we're seeing, right? So I think right now what you're trying to figure out is whether or not is this the top here? And I think the answer is yes. Do I think we push higher? Could, yeah. But right now, I'm still, as I've said on Schwab the other day, I'm on the sidelines. This is a stock picker's market. And right now, I'm looking for alpha, and I can't find it. You look at Tesla today, and we've been playing Tesla and doing very well. If you've been with me, you've been trading Tesla with me, you've crushed it. And we've done that. We talked about it from Eli Lilly perspective. Eli Lilly, looking at right now, pulling that stock chart up for me in my eyes. I can tell you right now, Eli Lilly 789.50, slipping a little bit. Look, these theses are still on, right? But what you got to find out is whether or not that people are willing to put more risk on. Remember, as I say it all the time, it's the mispricing of pricing, right? We buy or sell stock because the price of the stock is mispriced, or the equity is mispriced, or the futures is mispriced. And right now, I don't think so. I think things are fully priced, waiting on earnings. And right now, when I look at the earnings season here, I think it's a mixed bag. I think you're going to see where AI was, part of the R&D budgets of a lot of these major Mega 7 companies, right? The Mag 7. So when you look at Meta, you think they're going to be spending R&D? Yeah, they did. They spent some of that money on OpenAI's employees, right? As well as laying off a lot of people who, well, as I said 6 months ago to a year, you better learn AI or you're out. And we're seeing that now. Middle management's already being cut out right now. So, all right, let's get to it. Stick with the first one here. Stock tick indicator here. Tick now down 37. What did I say? Flat, flat, flat. That's what we're looking at. A flat market here. Looking at the advanced decline line, minus 238. So not too negative. Looking at gold 33.51. So pushing higher a bit on gold. We got down to, and if you listen to our boy Peter Thomas, he told you if gold could hold 3,300, back up we go, and it held. Bond market now 10-year now sitting at 4.435. So not slipping, pushing up a wee bit. Again, flat, flat, flat. So what do? I'm telling people sit on the sidelines. Take your hands, put your hands up, sit on them, right? Because you don't really know what to do. And a lot of times people trade just to trade. They got to get that. They got to trade in it. They got to do something. They got to do something. I got to do something. It's that emotion that you got to learn to control. If you learn to control your emotions in the markets, that's when you start to make better decisions. When you use data, full-blown data, attach AI to it. Attach your theses, your thinking, how you live, where we go, what we buy. Start to create a thesis. You become a much better trader. You don't become this, I have to buy stock of companies. I don't have a clue what's going on. I'm not buying it or selling it because somebody else told me to on Twitter. I'm not buying or selling it because someone pumped a meme coin, or I need to do this because, well, everybody else is doing it and the chances of me losing out here. You're going to get rugged. You're going to get hurt. You don't want to do that, right? You want to be at the beginning before the actual bigger investment trade thesis happens, right? How do you do that? Well, you start to look for signs, and looking for that signs, it's easy. Quasar Markets Live, Quasar Markets Education, Quasar Markets. Well, we got other things coming, and we'll talk about that soon, but these are coming, right? You want to make sure that you're on. Look, I get it. There's AI for other companies. Great, fine. But they look at the past. I don't want to look at the past. Oh, we got predictive AI. Ooh, great, good, okay. But you're not showing me what the future is. You're showing me what an AI thinks of the future, but you're not giving me my vision of what I think the future is, right? You're missing out on the whole idea of how AI should be making you better and efficient, right? So that's what we created here too as well. All right, so we're hearing that China's June financial data beats expectations, and yeah, so we saw that earlier that we expected a lot of good data coming out of China, less inflation, which we saw, and good numbers out of China. So China is pushing higher here, even on the backs of some of these tariffs, even on the backs of some of this slow roll here on Trump. So seeing that too as well. All right, if you got any stocks out there you guys are interested in, let me know. Yeah, I'm seeing more people talking now about Bitcoin now all over. Yeah, here you go. Bitcoin is today. I mean, we talked about 120, right? 120,000 was like everywhere. Can we get through it? Are we going to push through it? It blew through it, right? Because that's where some of the sales were, and we knew that the institutions are buying. I said this several times. It's all about the institutions. It's all about ETFs. Will they be buying? And I hear it all the time. Hey, I don't know what to do. I can't buy a whole Bitcoin. I don't know what to do. You don't need to buy a whole Bitcoin. Just buy a bit of it. All right. That's what they're saying. All right. A bit of a coin. So when I see these people talk to me, and it happened the other day, I was in the car, and the driver was like, "Hey, what do you think about Bitcoin?" I'm like, here we go. Right. That's not right. Right. The talk now is all about what's next. Right. How do I know what's next? Well, I told you, watch the commercials on TV. What are you seeing? Gold and silver commercials. If you watch CNBC and Bloomberg all weekend, people are trying to sell their gold and silver. Why? That pretty much tells you that there's a top end, right? I saw a lot of that over the weekend. When I hear it in the public's eye that, oh, did you hear about this stock? Yeah, I did 3 weeks ago. Where were you? Right? Oh, I heard about it today. Oh, okay. All right. Well, guess what? You're probably the last person to hear about it, right? You don't want to be the last person. You want to be the first person. You want to be, as I tell everybody, you want to be the ticker taker. What do I mean by that? I say this all the time here. The ticker taker is the person at the front door, is also standing at the back door. The front door is when before the movie starts, you're taking tickets. Oh, everybody wants to be in. Well, guess what? You're the one that has a ticket. So I'm taking your ticket. Great. I'm selling you a ticket. Go sit in the movie theater. Great. Movie's over. Some people want to stick around for after the credits are done. Well, the movie's over. Leave. Right. But then they rush for the door. I'm already out. I'm already the one selling my tickets. There you go. I'm already out. Right. Be the ticket taker. Be the person that's in there before. Well, that's easier said than done, Big Beat. How do I do that? I just said that, right? It's by the way that you trade. Get rid of the emotions. Do all the things that you need to do. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do it right now. I do it all the time. I will give you my list of trading rules. Pull that up for you guys. I got to copy them and paste them in here for you. But I'll give you my Big Beats rules of trading. And I tell people, copy them and put them on your desk. So I'll put this in the comment section here. Hopefully you guys can see that. There you go. Nope, I guess I broke it up into several ones there. For if you need a copy of it, I'll send it out to you. We'll put it up on the website and stuff. But the idea here is that you become a better trader by thinking a little bit better, by having a little bit of an edge. And what is that? Well, everybody's got an edge. Everybody's got this algorithm that's their edge. Everybody's got we're good. We're back testing this edge. We've got this new trading platform. Guess what? It works for a little while, right? That's not what investing is. That's not what trading is. It's about doing the right thing and doing it over and over and over again. We don't look to hit home runs all the time. You hit them. But we want to hit singles. We want to do this in a way that every single day that you're in the market, you do this in a way that's day in and day out. I've been doing this day in and day out for 34 years. Well, I don't want to do this for 34 years. Guess what? Then you won't be able to be that trader that you want to be. Sorry, I'm not gonna lie to you. So many people on the internet lie to you and tell you, we'll show you how to be $1 billion trader. Okay. And you have $10,000 in your account. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I don't want to listen to you. Right. I see this all the time. You see it on the internet all the time. Hey, I turned my portfolio from $10,000 to $5 billion. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Maybe on paper. Show me the real numbers. I'll pull your SEC files up. Don't worry. That's what I'm trying to say to you. I'm here to make you and help you become a better trader. How do I do that? All right, I do that through several ways. Changing that mindset, putting you back into a better mindset every morning. One of the rules is get to sleep. Did you sleep last night? Nope, slept bad last night. Oh, well, that sucks. Okay. Figure a way to get better sleep. Okay. Did you read the books that you need to read? They're up there, right? Peter Lynch, time honored tested, right? Peter Lynch tells you to have a thesis. That's what I've been telling you, right? One Up on Wall Street, one of the best books out there. Read it, right? Every day's a new day, right? Market doesn't start at 9:30. Here's another one. If your position is if your position in the market, whether it's buy and sell of a stock or futures or whatever, if that makes you nervous, you're too heavy, meaning you have too much on. Take some of it off, right? Those are the kind of things that you need to do. Well, why are your trading rules better than everybody else's trading rules? Well, because they're part of mine and part of other people's, and they've been what taught me and what mentored me and what got me to where I am, right? Have you set a daily goal? Have you learned to leverage the scale? Nope. Okay, we can do that for you too, right? That's the whole idea, is to make you a better trader. All right, let's get to it. Tick now down 83. What have I said? It's flat, right? All right, well, I have charts. I love my charts. Great, so do I. But your charts aren't everything. As I say all the time, charts aren't everything. They dictate price. Price dictates. Price tells you exactly what the thing's worth until it isn't, right? Until the price goes down, the price goes back up. That's why we do it. We're seeing SLE, that's Super League completing a series of transactions to secure capital and strengthen their balance sheet. That's SLE. So those of you watching SLE, I think gaming stocks are pretty much being commoditized now. So not a big part of the gaming world. I will say that we did talk about it several times, that I believe that SLE in general is pretty good. I do like the company. I do like the ideas around it, but I'm not. I think that when you look at gaming, are we still gaming at a highest level? And I think microtransactions. I talked about this the other day. Microtransactions and crypto is what's going to lead here. So I think so, but we're not sure yet. All right. All right, so we've got some macro headlines this morning. The first one here is about the dollar. Obviously, Trump's tariffs are really, really, really affecting EU and Mexico. And with thinking about the Scheinbaum was already saying, Mexico's President Scheinbaum, she was saying that she's interested in looking at reciprocation, but not right now. So she's saying, I'll let it play out a bit, and then let's talk about that, right? And I agree with that. That's probably a smart move. Understandable. So let's think about that first, and then see where we go from there. So I think what we're looking at is a time frame here. That it could very well tell us of what's going to happen with other countries. So meaning that Canada and Mexico is our biggest trading partners, right? Anybody says it's not China, it's Canada, Mexico. And if they start to fall in line, then great. If they don't like what Trump's doing, then we could have a problem. And I think other countries are watching that to see how they go. Right now, the next piece here is Bank of England signaling an August cut, and Bank of Japan is now mulling an inflation hike. So there you go. Two sides of the world. Bank of England now saying that they're going to cut again. They've already cut twice, right? So they're going to cut again. They're leading us, right? Normally, it's the United States that leads. Right now, we're not leading. Unfortunately, on so many levels, we're not leading. Oh, well, we're getting more money in because of tariffs. That's right. You're probably going to have a little bit of tariff money coming in the government. Oh, well, the government has a balance inflow that's bigger than the outflow. Yep, that's right. We do have an increase. And that'll happen for a couple of months as the balance of these tariffs start to come on. Will other countries continue to do this? No. And then eventually the debt will go even bigger, right, down the road. But we're not there yet. The other thing we talked about is oil. We've been talking about oil for a while. Oil now 68.57 a barrel. Still, it just can't push above the 69. 69 handle is tough for it. 67 around there has been a hold for that. So we're seeing a little bit right now. EU trade leader now says the United States and the EU trade talks need both sides working together. So they are blaming the United States side for not working to us. There you go. There you go. Huh. Jim Cramer now says the president believes he has the will of the people. He will keep pushing. Now, I was looking at numbers over the weekend that Trump's poll numbers amongst his own people, the MAGAs, are actually upset. The new lines of MAGA burning their hats has been picking up everywhere with the issues of Epstein. So I don't know that Jim Cramer is right on this. We're hearing now that CNN, Brazil, my goodness, news is coming in fast and furious now. Brazil is reportedly to ask the U.S. for tariff reduction up to 30% and could have tariff postponement for 90 days. So, okay. So, right, there you go. So, exactly what I'm saying. I said it earlier this morning, right? Almost dead on there that 2 weeks is not enough, right? So if they ask him for a postponement, then that means they want to work it out, right? And then Brazil can get their little extra. But I don't think that's going to be the case here. So I think that no taco trade this time. I think Trump is serious, and I don't think he's going to postpone the tariffs. I think he's going to put them on. So I'm hearing from NBC News now this morning that, here we go. President Trump's special envoy to Ukraine and Russia, retired Lieutenant General Kellogg, has arrived now in Kiev. Then I'll say it the English way, and I'll say it the Ukrainian way, Kiev. There you go. So we need, as I've said quite a bit over the last few months, we need to see clarity, right? We need to see some serious clarity saying, hey, look, Russia, Ukraine, because I think that Russia is preparing to attack Estonia. I'm not happy about saying that, but it looks like some of the news media now is saying that that there's a buildup on the border of Estonia. I hope that's not the case, but it looks like that's what's being said right now. So keep my eye on it, hoping that that's not the case, but it looks like that's what the case is. So if that's the case, then this market is way overvalued then, because there'll definitely be some pullback. All right. Dixie now, not the dollar now, 97.67. So you listen to Steve Flanagan last few days telling you the exact same thing. Look, it's interesting right now, right? That the dollar's holding up here quite nicely. But if it happens again, the tariffs issues happen again, then it's going to sell off. So right now, I'm not seeing that. Let's see what they're thinking. But yeah, we'll see. All right. Christian Fromhurst talking about JP Morgan downgrading CrowdStrike CRWD. Yeah, I mean, security is still an issue, but can CrowdStrike keep up? And they've had some issues over the last few months. So, all right, hearing reports, JP Morgan now says markets still bet Trump will scale back tariffs before August the 1st. It's exactly what I've been saying, right? If you there you go. Markets, you priced it in that the taco trade's here, that Trump will back off the tariffs on August 1st. I'm telling you that he won't. Jim Cramer, actually, I'm agreeing with Jim Cramer. I think the taco trade's not going to happen. And I'm telling you, I don't like these markets up here. I think they're overbought. And right now you're seeing FOMO. And JP Morgan's now telling you, well, the markets is pricing it in as if the president's going to scale back again on August 1st. Is his negotiating tactics, are they going to continue to go the way they are? I don't know. But right now, my thinking is that he will. And the markets are pricing it in that he will back off August 1st. JP Morgan says it. So, when these firms tell you, there's a reason why they're telling you, they're talking their book up. I know that. We all know that. If you don't know that, then learn it. Right? They're telling you because they're positioned that way. But there's truth to it, right? They can't just tell you a bunch of lies. They can't lie to you. The SEC be up there behind, right? So all right, we're hearing more reports now that Iran's foreign minister Argachi to meet Russia's Lavrov on a summit sidelines in China. There you go. Telling you right now, the world's getting more split every single day. Right? We talked about it. Russia on the border of Estonia. Russia talking to Iran. Split. markets, world, be careful out there, right? This market's overvalued. If all of these things are happening, tariffs, talks, all these things are happening, then this is what's happening, right? Why do you want to keep buying up and buying up and buying up and saying, okay, right, be the ticker taker? I'm not telling you to sell. I didn't say that on Schwab. I said what I say on the sidelines. I want to be more of a nimble trader now instead of a longer term trader, right? I know I've got my long term plays in. They're going to stay in. They never leave. I'm always there. Good, right? But protection. Scott Bauer on our show told you don't buy fixed calls and make plays in the VIX when it's too late. You buy when you can, not when you have to. That's what I'm telling you, right? And the VIX, guess what? We talked about it all last week. The BXX now 45.76, pushing higher. All last week, you could have been in, not chasing it today. That's what I mean. If you're listening to me, you got in. EU is now preparing a $72 billion in counter tariffs on U.S. imports after Trump's latest moves. Told you, taco trade's not going to happen. It's already coming in. These are already coming in fast and furious now. CNBC says that amid Trump's trade war, importers are hoarding cash. I've been talking about it for 3 weeks. Glad to see them doing it. And they're also saying that there's a fast track here on rare earths. We know that. The United States is moving away from China to get rare earths. Big digging in the United States, right? Utah, out in Utah, lots of rare earths, right? Nevada, rare earths. But we're already seeing it. EU already telling you that. EU's trade chief says it was clear from EU ministers that they would need to go for rebalancing measures if the U.S. talks fail. Now, if the taco trade does happen, but what I mean by taco, Trump always chickens out. Financial Times said that, right? If he does, and he pulls out on August 1st, says, okay, I'll give another 90 days, then it's off the races, right? But then you have inflation. And then you have inflation. The Fed's not going to back down. They're going to continue to hold off on lowering rates. So it is a damned if you do, damned if you don't. All right, we got about a minute and a half here to the open. Right now, I am seeing a little bit of bullishness off of this sell-off this morning. Some people are still buying the dip mentality. It is and it has been working. We've been playing that dip and we've been playing that buy the dip mentality. I'm not doing it anymore. I think buy the dip mentality is off the table now. I'm going to go back to the old trader, Tesla. Keep my eye on 317.60 up 1.3% right now. Yeah, I'm just not fully engaged here for the buy the dip thing here. So I'm just not quite there. Yeah. And now CNBC posting that JP Morgan says market continues to believe Trump will pivot to lower tariff rates before. So I'm going to post this too from CNBC. Love CNBC, by the way. There you go. So, right. If they're telling you this stuff, then you saw it earlier. Now they're buying the dip again, right? I'm just not doing it, right? I'm just not doing it, right? I'm just not interested in this. I want to see more clarity right now than I have been. I mean, I'm up 66% this month, right? My trading portfolio. Here we go. Ready to go. We're open. Market's pushing higher here a little bit. As we said, I see the buy in the dip, but I don't like it here. I'm not sold on it yet. VIX is dropping a wee bit here, 45.69 here. Dixie dollar 97.98, almost back to 98 handle there. So Tesla 317.51. It's bouncing all over the place. 317 is where it's at. Yep, 316.84. So I'm not liking Tesla up here at all. Tesla, I saw Elon Musk this morning talking about how he did not think a merger with all of the companies and things he's doing right now. He did not like that. So I totally understand that one. Tesla popping now a little bit. Yeah, more buyers coming in, more buying the dip, as people think that the people believe that he will back off. 319.20 now on Tesla. There you go. We're seeing now that Abu Dhabi's Mubadala, they are buying up a German real estate energy company. I've said this all along. Your two main sectors right now is energy and real estate. Look at that pop there. We actually went positive here. So the buy the dip still in. I don't like it, but buy the dip is still in. Yeah, there's the drop there. I thought there was too much of a run. Pretty quiet. Tech indicator now down 355 there. Light sweet crude oil WTI now 68.49, slipping a barrel here. Apple continues to be in the red here a little bit, 210 now. NVIDIA 163.84 really is struggling here at the top. And still slipping a bit here this morning. Tick down 124. Still flat. Flat day. Bernstein expects a long and exhausting crypto bull market ahead. Amazon flat on the day here. Kind of expecting Amazon to give us their new numbers, as they did beat on with their best Prime Day. We talked about that. But obviously, with Jeff Bezos continuing to sell some of his shares, it could add to it. Yeah, here we go. 121.4 now on Bitcoin slipping, and the Qs are now slipping again here too. Big slip here on the Qs. Amazon's it's just flatlining here today, barely green by 4 cents. Tick now by 40. Yeah, I think the EU with these counter tariffs are really starting to really pull into the market here a little bit. 121.2 now. Bitcoin slipping here. People get nervous on the run. I don't mind people taking a little bit of profit. Did I take a profit? Nope. Did I take profit? When on that big buy when we all did it back at 99,000. Yes, I did. But I'm not taking any profit. I like this. We'll keep going, right? There's still more short squeeze to go. We talked about that last week when we were at 110. I said, no, I see a short squeeze, a big one. Boom. Went to 113. Boom. Went to 115. Went to 119. Went to 120, 121, 122, 123, right? That's how it happens, right? And then there was these shorts that kept piling on, and they got run over like a person trying to pick up nickels in front of a steamroller. That's what happened. So, yeah, loving it. Yeah, all right, we're pushing back up here. Tick nap 200 here. 225.39 now on Amazon. Is up a little about 30 cents here. The sellers seem to be slowing down. 319.50 now on Tesla. Pretty quiet morning though. Here reports from Reuters now saying that Iran says it will respond to a reimposition of UN sanctions. So it looks like there we go. Tesla's slipping again, 318.47 here. Seems like the market's really waiting on something. Tick now at 54. We're flat. It's pretty much what I said was going to happen today. We have a very flat day, waiting on some data news. I think that's what's happening right now. Pretty quiet day today. $121.5 now back on Bitcoin. So it is holding here on Bitcoin here. Expecting that a little bit. If you guys have any stock out there you're interested in, let me know. Nice. Retweet that out. I'm loving it. Those numbers are going up again. Get us out there. Retweet us. Let everybody know we're here at Quasar Markets. 316.79 now, about where we were on the open there. Days range almost the lows on Tesla. We kind of talked about that. Like, just be careful out there. This FOMO buying is going to get eaten up by the institutions. They start dumping. Be careful out there. Antonio Costa is now saying BT flow, BT. We can pull up the charts. My thesis on McDonald's still falling here. I'm still seeing, this is a daily chart. I'm still not seeing McDonald's doing well here. I have been talking about it for a while that Apple is starting to get interesting to me a bit. I'm going to pull up a daily chart here on Apple. I will tell you that I want to see a little bit more of a pullback going into it. I did like this pullback back in early March and February. And I should have probably made the bigger move on Apple, but it did not. I I do have it indirectly, but I did kind of like that idea there. Domino's Pizza. I saw the new deal coming out on the news on the on commercials, starting to push up a little bit here. And of course, for those of you who listen to me, I've talked about it many times about Royal Caribbean. Look at that, Royal Caribbean now looking at a closing in on a 52-week range, 342.56, $2 off that high. As we continue to see, people are actually still cruising. $121.5. We're still holding here as the Qs just can't seem to hold up here. Wow. Bar chart now posting here that Apple should dump Tim Cook as CEO, says Lightshed Partners. I've been saying that for a while, actually, myself. There's no innovation anymore at Apple. I've said that for a while now, and it's really starting to hit. And a little pump there on Bitcoin, 121.7 now. Little one. Oh, there we go. There goes your Qs. There goes that drop. See? If you were paying attention, listen to me. You saw the markets. You weren't buying that. You weren't FOMOing into it. Be the ticker taker. Repeat it to me. Be the ticker taker. I had a feeling this was going to slip a bit here today. If you can't push one way, it's mispricing and pricing, right? If you can't push a market one way or the other, it will go the other way, right? They're looking for liquidity, and liquidity means where the prices are matching, right? Right now, they're matching at the bottom. So here we are at, more slippage here now in the Qs here. Bank of America now raising price objective to 275 from 250 at Honeywell. Okay. $121.8 now on Bitcoin, pushing now again. Tesla's still between my little. There it is, getting tighter and tighter. And there's your little run. For those of you who have been with us, well, I guess all the way back. But now the question is, what do we do now? Where's the market going now, Big Beat? Where's it going? There's no charts up here. What do you do with no charts? What are you going to do? This is where you learn that you don't always have to have charts to live by. But I will tell you that, to me, it's where the institutions are living, and they're living in a way that feels that they are they're behind, right? So institutions got to catch up with what we're looking at, meaning that they think the price of the stocks or the Bitcoin is going to go higher, right? So what do you want to do? Yeah. No, there you go. That news a little old. And more selling here on the Qs here. RBC now raising the S&P's 500 year-end target to 6250. Woo. Everybody's getting bullish now. 121, 122 back on Bitcoin. There you go. As I've been saying, institutions are playing catch up. Japan's 30-year now is now surging to 3.17%. That's the highest in a decade. And you heard all that from Steve Flanagan. You know, you when you listen to Steve Flanagan, he tells you exactly what's happening over in Japan. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte is arrived at the White House ahead of his 10 a.m. meeting. Mark Rutte is trying to figure out what NATO's going to do here. Tick now up 400. Yeah, the market's still selling. ABC News now reporting that stocks were mixed early in trading Monday after Trump's weekend issued. Yeah, we knew that. We were already here. We already knew that. 122 seems to be a little toppy there for the Bitcoin there, but now we're seeing a little bit of a pump now in the Qs here as the bottom might have been felt for the morning here. Pretty quiet this morning. A little bit of bounce back there in the markets, but not much. Tick now up 600 here. Advanced decline positive at 450. As we're starting to see the 10-year now slipping a bit here, 4.407. Gold now 33.58.21 now, reaching 33.72 earlier this morning. I just don't. This market seems quiet as can be. Another run here on Bitcoin at 121.933 here. Let's see if we can get it above 951 here. Let's see if we can get it above the 122 handle here. I think we blow past the 123. $122 back on Bitcoin. 10-year now slipping just a wee bit more here too. Tick now 411. Advanced decline pushing a little higher here now, up 700. If anybody has any stocks out there you want to let me look at, let me know. We'll look at them. We'll see if it can break this 122. Looks like the top there, 122.20. We're hearing reports that Ukraine is saying they're not getting everything they want, but it's substantial. Meaning the New Deal, trying to stop the war there in Ukraine and Russia. Now, that could be very positive. Qs are pushing up on the back of that news. And it's a fairly quiet morning here. 122 still holding, struggling at the 122 handle on Bitcoin there. Tesla 316.81 still can't seem to push either way there either. And it seems that the Qs are struggling again here. $316.59. It's just nothing going on right now. 97.92 on the Dixie. It's really quiet. They just want more news. They want to know the taco trade's on or not. Still pushing here. 122.8 now. Come on. Let's go. Silver 38.83 now an ounce. Still holding. This is where we said with Bitcoin, we need to see a little bit of a push here to go back to the 123 handle here. Make another run at it. I don't think the shorts are trying to make this run again. I don't think they were trying to attack it yet. There's just too much institutional money coming into to Bitcoin. All right, about 5 minutes down the top of the hour. $317.22 now on Tesla. Qs are trying to push a little bit here. We'll see. Wow, it's very quiet. And Bitcoin just cannot seem to hold up there at the 122 handle. All right, got about 4 minutes here at the top of the hour. Steve Flanagan's already in. He's ready to rock and roll. He's got his drink in his hand. He is. I'm gonna bring him in right now. It's been a quiet morning. Steve Flanagan, my man, how are you? It's been a very, very, very quiet morning here.
Yeah, I guess, at this point, we're so anesthetized to tariffs. You would expect the markets to be down based on, the European and the Mexico. But what it is this is a data-rich week. As you've been talking, we have so much in the U.S. coming out. But beyond the U.S., you've got equally a data-rich environment through Europe, through China. You had PBOC Deputy Governor Zhao coming out and saying, hey, we are going to continue to implement our loose monetary policy as needed. So Bank of China is standing in the wings here, ready to go. At the same time, you've got Asia, Japan at 0.5%, China looking to continue to stimulate. You've got the U.S. standing as, well, let's take our criticism of the Fed out. The U.S. at the moment is a high interest rate currency at 4.5% versus the world. So this underscores what I've been kind of saying now for the last couple of weeks. At some point, you cannot begin to hold a short dollar position. Why? To hold a short dollar position needs to be funded. And the funded is at 4.5% versus a long euro, which is at 2%. Therefore, you are losing a 2% roughly every day. That's the way you can look at it in simplistic terms. And that's why you're beginning to see the dollar index, Steve, we've been talking 97, 93 right now. I don't encourage people to trade, but I'll offer advice as a Forex educator. Last week's close was 97.87.
Yeah.
And you're at 97.93.
Yeah. We talked. I made that point this morning in the show that you nailed this, right? You're saying, look, here's where the bottom could be, but I don't think we're going to get there. No. And you've been dead right. But this news just popped up, just came across the screen. Number of first-time home buyers falling to a historic low. Talk to me, Steve. I mean, you look at the rates, you look at the currencies, no international exposure coming in, buying up U.S. real estate. Rates seem to be 10-year now, 4.413. Obviously, we're looking at silver at 38.90, Bitcoin at 122-ish. The yen, you're looking, Japan's rates are going up. They said they're going to raise them again. EU says they're going to lower their rates. The world that we know is not really the world that we know right now, right, Steve?
Right. That's right. Everything we've been talking about, the tectonic plates that are under the financial markets, all financial markets represented in currencies.
Yeah.
And the tectonic plates have cracked and shifted. We're just waiting. Right now, Steve, when you look at the dollar, the short positions in the dollar are so excessive, and for good reason. They're not necessarily people are saying, I think the U.S. is going lower. No, that's not it at all. People expressing their dollar exposure, and they're putting on very aggressive hedges. In other words, if I had $1 invested as a European in the United States markets, whether that's anywhere, equities, bonds, real estate, CDs, then I would say I'm worried about the course of the United States and the Trump tariffs and this and that. Well, the big, beautiful bill's done. That was one of the pillars of worry. The second is tariffs, which we're getting closer and closer. But my hedge would be to sell 40 cents. 40 cents is a very 40% hedge, but I believe hedges are well in excess of 60% right now. I don't have that data in front of me, but the price tells me everything. And that's what I'm underscoring. To hold those hedges is expensive, especially when the dollar is breaking higher. The dollar is breaking higher in expression in Bitcoin. It costs more dollars to buy Bitcoin. And I think what we'll see probably is a stability in gold and silver here for today. But I'm watching gold and silver because I believe they're going to take off to next levels. And all this is telling me a reflation trade is about ready to break loose. And watch the dollar. That's the way I can say, if you want to gauge the reflation trade, watch the value of the dollar. You cannot keep it down. It's just too much pressure right now to hold it down.
And I think I'm gonna hold you that reflation trade is about to break loose. Let me read that one more time. Reflation trade is about to break loose. So explain to me about the reflation trade.
Okay, Steve, I'm going to go back. Let's go back in a little bit of time, 2008, and I have all the notes from every Bernanke and all the guys that were in charge of the U.S. They decided, and the Fed, or not the Fed, the Treasury actually bought stocks through their PPT account, Plunge Protection Team account, which you're going to have to look at for all the listeners, research that one. They actually bought stocks. And the idea is that if equities go up, we reflate the economy. If debt can maintain a simple, at its present level, I think Elon Musk has just told us, hey, wow, being in the government, that was a lot harder than I thought. And that's why he's so critical that, why didn't you guys make the spending cuts that I showed you? Because it's government. It's elected officials. They can't. So what they did in 2008 out of that great recession was to reflate the economy. They pushed all the asset prices up. Gold has been telling this for the last 6 to 9 months. The gold price is already reflating. Nutshell, the U.S. still values the largest gold holder in the world, still values its gold at about $42.40. What? Gold reflating, silver reflating, Bitcoin reflating, equities are at all-time highs, and I believe it's going to continue. And that's where the dollar is going to make its turn. And that's where I think we're in right now. I have very tight levels. 97.87 was the Dixie close last week. Trade tightly if you're going to trade in the dollar. It's very simple. We have a stop loss. Give a little discretion. 97.75. If it breaks, you're out. However, if it holds, we want to stay in this dollar. I think a 98.30 break targets us in for an objective of 99.50. And that's just the first objective. I don't want to get way out in front of my skis here. But this is how they will reflate the world. Who's growing? Europe? No growth. Okay, minimal. China? Let's see. GDP comes out tomorrow. If GDP comes out in China under 5%, that is a huge warning sign. Is Japan growing? Their numbers have all been suddenly softening.
Right.
And the whole tariff thing plays right into, we're putting tariffs and everybody's saying, if I had a strong economy, I would stand up and put my chest out and say, I'll slap back with my tariffs.
Yeah.
But nobody can do that because their economies are all weak. So reflation, I believe a global reflation will be the storyline. It starts, and I've been talking June. Okay, I missed June, July, but it starts now. And I would hope for this to continue into year end. It'll be volatile, but then 2026, 2027, stand back because I think you're going to see incredible levels. I would go so far as to say, if I added 2% to the dollar index here, I don't think you see it 2% lower for probably the next several years. Now, anybody day trading, you don't want to day trade that. That's long range. That's macro thinking.
Right.
If you day traded, I gave you a great level in dollar index. It's right here. There's a couple of pips. You risk 20 points if this scenario begins to play out. And that doesn't mean that you bail out. I'm long, it breaks a little lower, I'm out. Okay. But if it comes back up above last week's close between now and Friday, you get right back into the trade. And you're risking 20 points on the downside. But when it does break, you're going to have several hundred points on the top side. So, Steve, that's my reflation trade. And I believe that we're on the precipice once we get the tariff thing done and finished.
All right, so thanks, Steve Flanagan, for scaring the shit out of me again. Because I now I see why the Fed doesn't want to lower rates.
The Fed doesn't want to lower rates until they have all their pieces in line, because they cannot stand another failure in their forecast, which they are right now going
They
through.
already are. Yeah.
They haven't recognized. But when they called inflation transitory, Steve, that was probably one of the worst, all-time worst Fed calls. What the heck were you guys looking at?
Right.
And I think right now they are so petrified to make another mistake, and they've got this word tariff because in the textbooks that we've all learned in economics, tariffs equals inflation. Right?
Always have.
That's
Always
what
have.
all the academics in the Fed are holding on to, and they are not recognizing the new world order that we are in with instantaneous price transmitting into, and it's constantly reevaluating every single day, and the markets adjust instantaneous, which takes those old school models out the window. They don't apply anymore. I know that runs against the grain of a lot of our academics and many of the people that talk on the show. Yeah. But this has been my profession and my expertise of the last 15 years of my career, and I've got over 43 years in the financial markets and building. Price adjustments are instantaneous today. Look at a tweet.
And it's why I'm not arguing with you, because I'm not going to argue against your 43 years, right? I just can't. And it's for those of you out there don't understand what Steve's saying, is that it's a tough place to put the Fed and the president and the tariffs and all of this in the same place. But the president thinks that the tariffs is the winning direction to fill up the coffers of the United States. He thinks that this is the direction that, the world's not equal and we're not equal. So what we get is not equal. So create the tariffs. But this is why the Fed's saying, well, those tariffs are going to cost us down the road in inflation. So we have a reflation trade, and we are elevated in the stock market, way overinflated. But commodities should do well. Did I pinpoint that in the right direction?
I believe you did, Steve. And that's going to be, the second half of this issue is going to be, the Fed is going to, the central banks of the world are going to have to, accept 2.5% to 3%. And not this, I don't know where the goal, Steve. I don't know whoever came up with 2% as an arbitrary number. But you know what? The key to any investor is that we adjust and adapt to the markets. So to hold firm, let's just say, if I held firm to, wow, the price earnings ratios are just too high, guess what? I missed how much of this stock market?
A lot. Yeah, right. That's why I tell people, don't be married to your charts. Don't be married to fundamentals. Don't be married to one thing. It's about everything, understanding the whole world and how it all works together. All right, Steve Flanagan, I'm going to leave it right here. Here it is again. Reflation trade is about to break loose. Steve Flanagan, the man himself. See you on Wednesday.
See you Wednesday.
All right, for all of us here at Quasar Markets Live, just want to say thank you for being with us today, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.